Welcome in, everybody. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. This is an exciting show for me for a couple of reasons. One, I love having new guests on the show who've never been here before. Two, I love having female powerhouses of the car business on here. And three, I just love talking with folks who have as much passion and joy for the car business as I do. And I think that's what we've got today. So for those of you who haven't seen episode 1 with Colby Joyner, this is episode 2 with Allie Peters, our fixed ops director, as we do our digital dealer speaker spotlights here. I know that is a lot to hear in one place, but we are going to do that today with Allie. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hear nothing but smiles out of you. I hear you're the most bubbly fixed ops human on the earth. Is this fair to say?
I think it's pretty fair to say, yes.
Okay, good. Well, I would keep the smiles running. We love them. So, Allie, let me first start by asking you, how did you get involved in fixed operations in a very male-dominated part of our industry? I'm happy to see it. I love when females come up and have done it. How did we get here today?
So it was an accident, actually. I graduated from Texas A&M right when we were coming out of the recession, and I was a communication and psychology student, and my cousin actually did an internship that summer in a dealer group in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And she called me on our second week of work and said, Allie, you have to apply. She said, this job keeps you busy and you talk to a ton of people. And really, those were pretty much my requirements. And so I applied and became a service advisor. And so I had no idea what I was doing. I honestly don't even think I'd ever been to a dealership before that. And so I started and I fell in love with helping people and have really kind of kept that as the thread through my career and how I've had the opportunity to grow into the place I'm at now as fixed ops director.
That is awesome. So a service advisor kicking it off. I mean, communications, right? Boom. I mean, that's with your schooling that way fits right in. When you are building up as a service advisor through to here, were there things that you saw along the way where you were like, well, if I had the chance, I would probably maybe do things differently? Is there any one thing that stands out to you that as a service advisor, you're glad you do differently now for your service advisors as a director?
Well, I had the opportunity to work for a few different managers while I was an advisor. And one of my favorite things that I learned very early on was not to be afraid to make a mistake. And so I've really taken that as part of my training when I have new associates on our team and even really seasoned associates. I don't want them to be afraid to make a mistake. I want them to make one new mistake a day and learn from that, because I truly believe that that's where the learning comes from. And so I've had managers who were a little more traditional, a little more old school, and fear of making a mistake really left them stagnant and in the same place. And so for me, I wanted to be part of pioneering and being visionary and changing the way that we do business. And I really, truly try to take that every day. And like I said, I'm grateful because I've had a lot of leaders before me that instilled that in me. And it wasn't kind of this, original thought, but it's something that I do feel that it is still, I believe we are still the minority in this business trying to change the way things have been done. And it's okay to try something new. And if it doesn't work, fail quickly and pivot.
I'm a huge fan of it on the sales side, which is where I spent my entire life. It's something that you have to be able to do. I always say from a mistake perspective, I'm a huge sports fan today. As we record this, today is opening day of my favorite sport, baseball. It is. The best baseball players in the universe, the Hall of Fame players, will have failed at hitting 70% of the time. Mm-hmm. So if failure is acceptable in my favorite sport, it should be acceptable in my own life. So Absolutely. It's something that I've always strive for, to say, hey, look, failure, how would I know what good looks like?
Right.
I don't know what bad looks like. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that's awesome. And I got to be honest, in fixed ops, it's something that I've seen from afar, but it seems like that negativity or that fear can really start to snowball almost quicker than in the sales world, because the sales time between customer, you typically have that space where you're like, cool, I made a deal, I'm frustrated, I go outside, I walk around.
Right.
Advisors don't see
They don't have that.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Right.
like, customer. So you
Absolutely.
can't afford that negativity, right?
It snowballs. And I mean, really, it is, you're absolutely right. I sold cars for a very short period of time, about 5 years ago. And definitely the time availability between guests where you're truly face to face with someone, or when you really can take that step back and take kind of a mental break or a mental lap, that was afforded more on the sales side, where you're 100% nail on the head with on the service side. You don't have that opportunity. So you have to make that opportunity. You have to be proactive and being aware of your mental space. And then the moment you feel that something is changing for you, you have to be able to raise your hand and say, I need a quick minute. I'm going to take a lap. I'll be right back. And we all are very pro that in our space. And on my team is, I would rather you take a lap and not be available for 5 minutes because you're clearing your head than just let it continue and touch every customer and every person for the rest of the day.
Yeah, because it does, right? It spawns out so quickly. We used to call them lot walks. And on the sales side, it was always good to go on a lot walk by yourself. It was never great when the owner tapped you on the shoulder and said he'd like to take you on a lot walk.
Oh,
No. Those were never fun. But they were learning, right? Someone was trying to explain it to you, even if maybe the tone and the delivery and my buddy knows I'm talking about him. So I love you, Jay. I'm talking about you. We grew up together in the business and separated. Now we're back together. But it's one of those things that you learn and and you see how people approach other people. And so for me as a manager, my evolution was something of, I started off as a numbers guy. I used to not even name my salesmen in the office. It was just A, B, C, and D. My sales managers would come in, fill in their sales numbers because I didn't want to get invested in the oh, this guy has a family or this. No, what is his numbers, right? This is like early 2000s. And thank God that I evolved. Thank you to my beautiful wife for the evolution opportunity.
Good job.
The only reason I've evolved, otherwise I'd be stuck in the 1999 version of myself. But so in this evolution, you go through and you see that the more important part than the numbers is the humanality, right? Is the people part of it. But again, I go to this, it seems harder to make the identification. Look, everything I've learned about fixed ops, I've learned from Service Drive Live. I'm not sure, Allie, if you're familiar with who they are, but you need to check out Joe Chambers and Eric, my guys out there. They're doing awesome things on Sunday mornings. But the numbers, the metrics you guys talk about, all the different acronyms. Like, I thought we had a bunch of acronyms on the marketing side. I don't think we hold a candle to what y'all got going on the fixed ops side. So how do you balance the data side of your job with the human side of your job?
So that's a great question. So I feel that I have always been more the people side, and then the numbers had to come second. So as an individual, I'm very competitive, and I've been that way my whole life. And so very quickly, when I became a service advisor, I found, what do I have to do personally to be number one? And that was something that I was constantly working towards. And so the numbers and the metrics that I learned while actually performing the job helped move me into the manager role. But truthfully, that was still a very small slice of the pie as far as managing the numbers in the service department. And so for me, what I tend to do is I think I actually look at the department backwards or maybe opposite than a lot of people do. So as a manager, oftentimes you say, okay, I need X number of gross to hit my goal so that my owners are happy, so that my leaders are happy, so that I am paying the bills, so that I'm hitting whatever that responsibility is. What we like to do is actually go the opposite way. And so I say, okay, Sean, what is your personal goal for your income, for you to be happy with the time that you spend here and the work that you're doing? And so we work backwards towards that goal. And so instead of saying this, if you were to keep this metric right in line with industry standards, you would need 10 advisors. Well, I might say, okay, that's great, but I'm going to do 12 because the people I have, in order for them to hit their personal goals and still be able to take incredible care of our customers, 12 is that number. And so I work really kind of bottom up, so to speak. And so that way, those numbers all line up to hit our goal.
Well, I love it. I love it because that's kind of, in the sales side, we've always had this weird math, like if every guy does 10
Right.
and I hired 20, I should do 200. And that math never works. It never works. You either flood a floor with a bunch of people who take ups and burn through your marketing dollars, or you have a floor full of just savages who are trying to cut each other out of deals, trying to work through all this because they're hungry, right? So we kind of did the same thing. The income part of it, you know, Allie, I don't know if you find this, but I find that people talking about finances, right? Very, very uncomfortable. I don't have that uncomfort.
Right.
I'm willing to talk about anything you want to talk about with money. And the first thing I do when I hire people is, hey, what do you have to make so there's no stress in your life? So so you and I don't have the discussion of, dude, I couldn't pay my bill. Like, because money is the root of all divorce. It's the root of all issue. It's in not a bad way. I'm not demonizing money. Okay. I run a for-profit business. So this is not the right. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's this balance between profit, people, process. And so when they come together, I think it's a really, really, really cool time. When you are looking at your team, right? And you're going through that sort of discussion, what happens when someone doesn't know their value or doesn't have a number or doesn't like, what do your conversations look like there? Because I find to run into people who they don't know, you know, you ask someone, hey, what do you need to cover your bills? And they sort of look at you like, cover my bills. It's like, yeah, what does it every month have to be, right? So how do you handle those discussions as a manager? Again, you're not here to tell people how to run their finances, but it's a question of what do you need to make? How do you handle that?
Yeah. So I actually really love those conversations too. So I am very comfortable having them. I really, 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 really like the people part of my job so much that I enjoy those even really more than the cars and teaching the process and the product. And so for us, it's diving down even deeper into what their why is. You know, why are you here? Why did you decide this career? And that is so impactful because oftentimes people don't really know it and people don't really understand it. And they've never taken the time to sit and dive down and write that out or come to that conclusion. They just got hired because they needed a job. And someone said, I mean, at my story, right? I didn't have a why to get into this business, but once I found it and once I started to get involved in it and get invested in it, then my why became helping other people through life. And that was as an advisor, helping the customers who had broken cars, helping them through that. As a manager and as a leader, it became helping the people that were on my team it through life. And so for us, it's really driving down. And so for some of our friends, it's, you know, they want some time off and they want vacation, they want flexibility. For others, it's they have a family or they just got married or they're getting married and they want to be able to pay for that. And so we really start saying, okay, well, what's the long-term why? What's the short-term why? And then we can do some math to get them there. I mean, we just right now this month, we have one of our advisors came up with a personal goal. He and our manager sat down and said, this is what I want to make. And so they backed into it and they said, okay, this is the number of cars each day. This is the number of hours we want to shoot for. And he is almost to that goal. And we have today and tomorrow. And he's number one on our team in customer satisfaction this month. And so by having those intentional conversations and having a game plan each day, he's been able to accomplish that and not even just barely accomplish it at a high level and have success in that. And we get to celebrate those throughout the day, throughout the week.
And that's what keeps people coming back, right? That's what keeps you from having churn.
Absolutely.
Churn crushes us. It costs us more than it's worth. It's better to treat people fairly up front and worry about the rest later is how I look at it.
Agreed.
I love the fact that you talk about the why, right? So like the why should evolve, right? You have a why when you got here. Now you have nothing but whys, right?
Right.
When I started in the car business, my why was making money.
Yep.
I was 18 years old. I mean, it was just, you know, that was it. And then it evolved. And then I gave up on money right before 2008. Timing, I guess, was okay.
Right. You knew something was coming.
Yeah, you do. And, you know, I mean, I lived through selling cars during 9/11. So, I mean, the lessons that you learn from the hardest of the times and the worst of times are the most valuable. And it develops my why. You know, now my why became starting this company so that I could have time with my wife. If I wanted to be a millionaire, I should have never sold my stake in dealerships. I should have stayed doing that.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, I'd have probably been not too healthy.
Yeah.
it's one incurred. And so, you know, it evolves. I love that for it. Now your people, you love to talk about your people.
I do.
You love your people. I can see the smile, the energy. It's genuine.
Yeah.
So you love meeting people. You love talking to people.
I do.
We're about to embark on an event together. It's as we talked about, the digital dealer spotlight is to hear about you, but to get into what we're going to do. So Allie, I think you told me pre-show, this is show number 1 for you. Is that right?
Show number 1. Yes.
Show number one.
Number 1.
All right. Exciting. I'm happy it's the case because, as I told you, I'm coming out of show retirement. We're coming out to do this, have fun. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to be on such an amazing panel of people, right? Like just we were all on a call together recently, and just the breadth of humanity going on there really makes me happy. So as a first timer, what are you looking forward to? What are you nervous about? And what is the one thing you're hoping to get from it?
Okay. So looking forward to is getting to see people that I've met in the past and getting to meet new friends. So even like with you, this is our first time really getting to know each other. So I'm looking forward to getting to meet you in real life. And then same thing, all of the panelists, like you talked about, just the passion and the energy and the excitement and the enthusiasm that they have for what they do, that's contagious. So I'm very, very excited to be on this panel. I am a little nervous because it is my first one. So I don't really even have a true game plan going in. So I need to do a little research and a little planning because I don't want to feel overwhelmed and not feel like I was able to get everything out of the show. I want to maximize my time there. And so that I would say that will come. I just need to do some planning. And then really the one thing I hope to get out of it, honestly, is truly more connections. I think what my favorite part about shows or events is meeting people who have a true understanding of caring about what we do in this business. And I think that when I walk away from a show and I've met people like that, I like to continue to keep those people in my life because there are going to be hard times and there are going to be hard days. And for us who really sincerely want to be leaders in this industry, I think having just kind of that mentorship or even just that community of people that I can reach out and say, hey, you're in a different state, you're in a different side of the business, you're in variable, I'm in fixed, but this is what I'm going through. Have you ever been there? Or can I share my thoughts and have a place to kind of bounce those thoughts off of? So really just the community and the connection is my hope. And then, obviously learning more about what I can bring back to the store and implement in the day-to-day within the departments.
All right, let's jump into number 1. I should have guessed that number 1 would be
yeah.
people. I mean, it's
surprise.
You and I have been talking for 14 minutes, so that is already. I'm into that. I get that. As far as being nervous, overwhelmed, totally understand. Kobe had some great advice for people, which you're already onto, which is plan.
Yeah.
Look at the schedule, have a plan, see what you want to do, go to the things that you want to be a part of, right?
Right.
And so that's exciting. I will tell you that I'm excited for the people. That's really, I've been, people say I'm holed away in the woods, which is fair. I have been there for the last 4 years, almost 5. I get outside a lot though. Anyone who watches my stuff knows I'm outside, but it's something that I'm slightly nervous about. The same side of the coin because it's been so long.
Right.
And I haven't been on an airplane. I mean, we're talking about like a whole reset to my life, something that my wife and I were traveling all over before COVID. I have yet to be on a plane.
Wow.
It's COVID. So I'm getting on a plane. I'm going to a large event. I still wear a mask in the grocery store, okay? Because I've always wanted to wear a mask. When COVID happened, I was like, oh God, thank God I don't look weird anymore. Now I'm back to looking weird, which is fine. But it's a safety thing for my wife and my household and some of the things that go on there. But so there's some nervousness, right, about being in public. But you're right about the connections. We have a dinner planned the night before the event for everyone to get together. That is what I look forward to. I look forward to the conversations like you do with people. Now, let me tell you about the speaker side, okay?
Okay.
You are going to be great. And here's why. Because you understand and have a passion for your part of the business. Well, you seem to have a passion for the business in general, but your
Mhm.
passion for fixed ops will shine through. It
Oh,
really will.
thank
And
you.
you're not the only first timer.
Okay.
My director of social, Jeff Hunter, who is
Mhm.
like a YouTube sensation, the whole world knows who he is. He's nervous as all get out because he's never been on stage. He's never been here, right? The guy's got 1 million views on YouTube, but he's like, oh, dude, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, it's gonna be okay. Okay,
That's right.
there. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But Allie, when you think about your ability to help people and work through problems, doesn't that kind of lend its hand to the setup we have going on here for this particular session, where it's not about me speaking at you,
Right.
do that. That's fine. I could do it right here. I don't even need to be in person.
Right.
But work through issues. Is that exciting to someone?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love the way that this is set up. And I just came back from an event a few weeks ago, and it was all about the mastermind sessions and really sitting down with people and engaging in conversation about some of the obstacles that we're seeing right now. And that was just so fulfilling to me, because it really was a back and forth of it was a true conversation. It wasn't being spoken to, it wasn't being spoken at. I was a part of speaking with them, and them with me. And that was just so fulfilling.
Well, I think that event, and I'm not positive I know which one it is, but I might.
I'm pretty sure you do.
That event is what motivated one April Simmons.
Yep.
By the way, the mastermind of all of this.
Yes,
April. The wonderful April Simmons. I tried to call us April's All-Stars. I texted her that. She said we're the world's all-stars. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but like,
I'll be April's all-stars. Absolutely.
Right, that's what I said. I'm like, couldn't we just we were looking for a group name and no one had it. And I thought, well, it's her responsibility, right? She put us all together. And if it works, it's her responsibility. If it fails, it's on all of us.
Right.
I understand it. When you were at this other event, right, with the mastermind, did you feel comfortable helping lead discussions? Did you feel more comfortable adding to discussions? Where did you sort of feel like your mix fit in?
So honestly, we had 4 sessions, and I fell a little bit on both ends. So 2 of the sessions I ended up being the team leader. So I went up to the stage to present everything that we had discussed. So our ideas and our plan, so to speak, with the obstacle we were facing and what we would do. And I love that. I joke that when I was little, I wanted to be Oprah. And so I've enjoyed public speaking. I like being in front of crowds. Give me a microphone, and you might have to take it away because I have too much fun with it. So very comfortable.
All right, I'm making notes for this now, April. I hope you're watching, April. We need to be ready with the with the music for the Oscars. You know what I mean? To just walk Allie off stage here. All right.
Yes,
so
please.
You love that part of it. That's awesome.
I did. And then there were some times where, we were having conversations in a space that I might not have been as comfortable with. And so I like to do a lot of question asking. And sometimes that method is sincere in the sense of, I really don't know what we're talking about. So can you explain to me, maybe like I'm a 5-year-old, and that's not a demeaning way, but like, just break this down, like Chat GPT. I told Colby that. I said, I've heard about it. My husband has talked about it. He's very excited about this world, but I don't get it. I was like, tell me like I'm 5, so
even when they tell me like I'm 5, I'm like, yeah, but I still don't care. Like I've been through it all. I heard you. Now I just don't care. And I like writing my own stuff. I like being a part of my own stuff. I don't know. I had a debate with a buddy last night about it where it was the future of life. I'm like, pass, dude. I'm going further than I haven't gone deep enough into the woods, and this is our future. So for sure. But you're right. It's a matter of uncomfort, right? Like people talk about that, let's just say AI in general.
Right.
I tense up. I'm like, oh God, I immediately go to Terminator. I'm like, who wants that world? Like, I don't want robots.
Yes.
Like that's
Absolutely. And that's one of the last conversations we had about it that night. I said, look, I get it that I have been on the consumer side of things, and it has already been coming at me and all of this. Marketing.
And though, Allie, right?
I
when
do.
You're dealing with it. And it's
absolutely. Yeah. I was like, but then hearing about it from the actual content creating side to utilize it, that part freaked me out. I felt like, and I won't, I don't know that I'll say I won't. I don't believe that I'll ever be the person in charge of that, because that is not in my scope of even understanding, but
it's probably not going to fall under your purview.
No. I'll let Colby do that.
It's a Colby problem for sure, but I don't think it's yours.
Absolutely. So I was like, it just seems like too much power. I don't need that response. Even if I was Oprah, I don't need that responsibility.
It's the same reason I held a gun once in my life and I gave it back and I've never held one again. So I'm not good. I'm good with power, but I'm not great with absolute power. And so I avoid it at all costs. I know that about myself, which is funny. So when you look through and you talk about like the new AIs and the new future of things and these sort of discussions, how do you balance that in your department? Kind of getting back to your role with the idea of AI and all the products. Like, do you get pitched a bunch of products? Do people knock on your door trying to sell you stuff all the time? And I ask this because it's our role in the industry to do it for our sales brethren and sisters on the front end. So our role is to, when someone does call, they say, yeah, call Sean, he'll vet it, he'll let us know if it's any good.
Right.
Do you guys deal with a lot of this on the service side as directors and managers? Are there people trying to sell you stuff on a day basis?
Yeah. So oftentimes I get calls, I get pop-ins, I get a lot of LinkedIn, which that's fine because that's a great tool. But as far as AI goes, I'm still learning it. And so oftentimes, and I'm so sorry if anyone's watching this that has reached out to me, when I hear AI, I kind of glaze over and move on because I don't understand it well enough to know where the value is. And, maybe that's for someone who wants to be visionary and a pioneer in this space, maybe that is a little counterintuitive.
No, it's not contradictory at all.
Okay.
It's because, look, I think that we have to do a better job of taking things as a moment in time, right? I think we get too stuck on this idea that if you don't get on to AI today, tomorrow you'll be out of business. Yet earlier today, I read that Elon Musk and a bunch of big time people have signed a declaration to stop creating this crazy something bigger than Chat GPT because they're afraid of its when I hear people like that have fear in that tells me we've already jumped the shark in this deal and I'm no longer interested because I don't think it's not going to be necessary for us to survive in the industry. I'll tell you that right now, Allie. There's no way. It's the same conversation we had with people who told me that digital retail was the future and the only way to buy cars. That was a load of BS when they said it. It's a load of BS today, and it'll be a load of BS for years to come. People still want to be in person.
With people.
We're people.
Right.
Even me, I've turned into this like closed off hermit, I've been called, which is, again, fine. It's cool. I get it. But I do that because it's, to me, some of the humanity stuff that's out there has just gotten so crazy. And everywhere I go, people are like, oh, this whole post was written by Chat GPT. I'm like, stop following, because if that's what you're going to keep doing, I don't need a robot's opinion. I want your opinion.
Right.
I assume you agree with the idea that we as people need to still be expressing who we are.
Yes. And I think that's if there are going to be people like me in this world, I feel that there is a place for people to people business. And I'm not saying that technology isn't helpful, because I definitely believe that there is a space for it. And I'm a big fan of that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and that's when I think about it in my space. I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Is it someone who is going to help schedule on a telephone? Because that might help a hold time, but in reality, does that person on the other end really know that they're talking? It's a robot. Like, it's still, what's the difference between a phone tree? And again, maybe this is me just having a very, very limited understanding of it. But so as far as true AI goes, in the sense that I understand it, I'm not all in. But what I will say is that I use this software that I'm a huge fan of, and they have AI within it. And so it's able to learn if a text a customer sends in needs to be responded to or doesn't need to be responded to. That's helpful to me. That piece of it is I'm a big fan.
I think it should be renamed AAI, which is artificial assistance intelligence. And I think you would then find people going, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see how this can help. Because a lot of people pitch it as this replacement thing. And I don't think it's that. I think it can help you do more, see more, be more, write the algorithm or whatever the case is. I'm sure it helps people with content-driven ideas and all these other things. But at the end of the day, I'm in the people business. All right. Yep. That's why I got in the car business, much like you. Absolutely. I love people. And that's a big part of it. So when we go out to this show, Allie, has anyone talked to you about it? Have you had any discussions with Kobe? He and I talked about sort of the nightlife aspect of these shows can sort of, run up against people. Has anyone talked to you about that, Allie?
No. So, no, but I will say, so I've been to 3 NADAs. And then
Okay.
of course the event I went to a few weeks ago,
Yep.
and I have definitely learned about the balance, we'll use the word, of the day to day as compared to the nightlife. And I
Yep.
think for me, same thing. I really enjoy that because that's really where I think the connections are made, at the bar or at the restaurant. And I love what I learn during the day. And again, this is my first one, so I don't really know. I don't have any expectations, which is how I like to go in, because then everything gets to be exciting and new to me. And so I'm happy to learn and happy to take information back to our day-to-day life here. But I also am excited for what that kind of the extracurricular activities bring, because that's where that's where I met April a few years ago. And that's where, that's where these friendships are formed, and the ones that are sustained over the long term, I think, happen there versus in a, workshop.
I agree. I love it. I look forward to the nightlife aspect of it. I
Mhm.
like to be hearing people's stories. I like to be
Mhm.
hearing what they're up against, where they
Right.
are. You've been to the biggest of shows in NADA. You've seen, 16 million square feet of, area to go look at every product, car washes, key card, whatever it is, right? This a
Right.
little bit smaller, a little bit more technology driven, a little bit, to be fair, they're probably like a third of it has to do with fixed ops normally.
Mhm.
But I like how you're going in with no expectations. I'm trying to do the same because I stopped going for a reason. And now I'm
Right.
trying to go back and I'm trying to say, all right, just get all that out of your way, go in, be open-minded to all of it. This, even the way that this came to be, right? Our session itself, this isn't
Mhm.
traditionally how these are set up. Traditionally, you have to, submit and go through all this and be a part of court of politics, which I'm not your guy when it comes to playing politics. I didn't start a company to play politics. I started a company to do my own thing.
Right.
And so politics is a yuck for me. But this was all curated by Digital Dealer. So I applaud them for this approach. I think it's a very, very interesting approach. Are you, as a speaker, you love speaking?
I do.
I love it too.
I do.
Right? I don't know. It's just fun. It's
It
easy. I
is.
like the Oprah analogy that you
Yeah.
gave. I can just see you just, you get a
Right.
car. I can just see it. I can
Yes.
see the smile. I can see throwing stuff around. I tell a quick story. When I was, before I sold cars, I was in the men's clothing business.
Okay.
And I worked for the Men's Warehouse. And I ended up being the youngest GM in company history and all these things. Met the
Wow.
guy you saw on TV. But the whole reason anyone ever caught my name was because when I was selling suits at the Men's Warehouse, is very specific. You have to go shirts and ties, put them under the suits, really showcase this whole thing. It's an experience, and
Right.
we had to go to Suits U, San Jose, California for a week to learn
Whoa.
from the dude who founded the company. Like the first morning I'm getting ready for, I'm in the bathroom washing my hands. He's standing next to me washing his hands, and you were just like, oh my God. And he turns to me, he goes, Sean, let's have a great day. And I'm like, I'm not wearing a name tag. Like, how did this,
Oh.
oh my God, like I'm blown away. And so we got done. He said, Sean, I want you to come up and show everyone your presentation style. And I thought, why does he want me to do that? And I came up and he said, don't hold back. And I said, oh, I think I know what he means. So I used to, if you're the wife of the guy looking at the suit, right? And I got the ties out and you go, oh, that tie is ugly. Allie, I just take it and I throw it behind me. Middle of the song, I'm like, all right, not for sale. Let's get a new one. I had 3 more ready. And it was just shirts. Don't like it, get rid of it. Socks, don't like it, get rid of it. And people were just standing sort of around me like, what the hell's going on? And I got done and I said, George, did I do that right? He was like, unbelievable, right? It's everyone watch. You're not going to be able to replicate it,
Right.
but you
Right.
need to find what is yours within it, right? And so
Mhm.
as a speaker, do you feel like you found who you are, or do you think you're still looking for that person as a speaker? What does the speaker evolution journey look like for you right now?
So honestly, I would say that I think I'm still finding it. So when I was younger, I had many opportunities to speak. When I was in high school, I was the MC for my high school graduation. And so I
I
still
can see
remember,
all of this, Allie.
right? Yeah, it
None of
was
this
so much
feels like a
fun.
leap to me at all.
I
At all.
loved it. And my dad even still will sometimes be like, I still can't believe you got up in front of 2,000 people and you did that whole thing. I said, it was, I didn't want it to be over. I had fun. I got to sit on the front and look at everyone. And then I got my chance to talk on the microphone multiple times, it was my show. So as
That's
far
great.
as as far as the desire and the confidence and the passion, I really like it. I will say over the last 12 years of being in the business, I haven't had many opportunities because I really just started working, and that was what I spent most of my time and energy on. And so to be asked to be a part of this panel was so exciting for me. And I feel like I'm just getting started in this new version of Allie with this new. And honestly, I don't necessarily know that the topic has really changed since when I was in high school. It's just now a different version of it. It's always been about people to me. That was always what I was excited about and passionate about. My mom was a school teacher. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I found out that that wasn't where I needed to be. And then she became a counselor, and I thought, well, maybe I'll be a counselor. And now I feel that I have found this perfect spot for me in this world where I can teach and I can coach and I can counsel and I can discipline if needed. That's not my favorite thing, but I'm happy to do it, and I can hold people accountable. And I mean, almost even parent some of the people in our team. And so it's like this position that has continued to evolve as I've grown in leadership has really just become this bucket of everything I ever wanted to be all in one. And so now getting the opportunity to add speaking to it is really exciting about what the future
I
holds.
can just feel it.
Right.
I can feel you just sort of overwhelmingly being bubbly about the fact that, like, look, I get to do everything I like, life's passion all in one place. And I selfishly feel the exact same way about what I do for a living. You know, it's
Isn't
like
that wonderful?
I was able to put all the pieces. I love the car business. I love the people. I love data. I love, vetting people. It's just part of learning and learning and learning. I'm going to go back to one thing quickly that you said earlier, which was that you ask questions when in a position of not knowing the answer, right?
Right.
And I am the same way. I try to seek to understand before I have a comment, which is not something I would have said about myself 5 years ago, 7 years ago. I just wasn't that way. It was like, I know what I want to say. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it.
Same.
So now I become a listener, which ends up asking questions, which I think annoys my wife sometimes because I ask a lot. And I think she'll be the first to admit that. But asking gets me a lot of places, right? It gets me to understand where people are coming from. And when you do it, it gets people to sort of take the guard down a little bit and not act like they're being talked at, right? They're being talked with. That's a big part for me. I always view myself sort of as a therapist in some ways, which it sounds like you do as well, where you're helping people through matters. So as someone who's looking out for the betterment of people, you've been gracious with your time. I know you're busy. I want to wrap this up for you. What is it that people, why should people attend our session, Allie? If you were not a part of the panel and you saw it listed, and April says you got a problem, she can solve it, and I would agree with the number of people in that room, I would be shocked if there were something that we could not solve.
Right.
However, if you were a dealer looking at the title line, why would you go?
So I would go because of the amount of information and knowledge in that room that we are going to be able to share in such a short amount of time. I don't know much about the show, but I will say that based on what I do know, I don't feel like you would be able to walk away from that panel with anything less than more than what 90 minutes truly should be able to offer you, in my opinion. I think that what we are going to bring and the people who are going to be in that room, I mean, I think that that's a full 2 days worth of people and knowledge and information, and it's going to be condensed. And the fact is too, it's going to be we're going to be there to give you what you want as the consumer, as the person who's attending. You're going to get to be a part of it. It's not just this cookie cutter script that you're going to listen to. You're going to be engaged with us. We're going to be engaged with you, and we're going to be able to go and navigate with you as you choose. It's
a great part of it, right? When we're working together. But dealers, don't show up ready to sit on your hands, because that ain't gonna work.
Nope.
You're gonna be in this room. You're gonna have opportunities to sit at different tables, fixed ops people, data nerds like myself. You're gonna have paid search people like Colby Joyner going on the marketing side. As dealers, our dealers plan to be sort of in the area, roving around, being a part of it, because dealers and other dealers leading their discussions together. Vendors, it's easy for us to talk about what we do or talk about what we don't do. But what's difficult is to get people talking about themselves, get them talking about what matters to them. And that's what I am so, so excited about. Allie, thank you so much for your time today. You have been just an unbelievable way to start my day.
Thank you.
And I hope people feel the same way after they get done watching.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Sean.
I really look forward to it. All right, everybody, if you don't already have your tickets for Digital Dealer May 1st through the 3rd, you can actually just show up on the 3rd if you want, because the 3rd at 10:30 is what matters. Clearly,
That's right.
the biggest names in the business. It's April's All-Stars unofficially. I don't know. I know she doesn't love it, but thank you all so much for joining. We look forward to seeing you in Tampa. And everyone, have yourselves a great week. And next week on the show, we're going to be doing a speaker spotlight, but I'm going to turn the spotlight on myself, and I'm going to get real with you guys as to why I'm going, what I'm hoping to get from it, and yes, why I've taken so long off of these things. I'm going to give you the whole story. So thank you all so much. Have yourselves a wonderful week.
Thank you.